Hey everybody, this is Peter Palmiotti, and this is Independent Road, episode 9. Just little things up front. My friend Scotty Watson, if anybody was pledging to the retro Kickstarter, they know Scotty was going to be doing a pinup, and actually the Kickstarter launch, he had a heart attack, but he's better now. And he's getting to work not only on the Talon retro crossover pinup, but a lot of other projects and whatnots. So excited to see him back in business. He's, of course, a really good friend. I'll be on Crowdfunding Comics tomorrow night with Mike Emirates.
Nice.
Excited about that. Yeah, excited about that. My old buddy Billy and Niall, be talking to them both about Werewolves and Unicorns, the D100s anthology that's live right now. I believe we got 15 more days. We passed the first stretch goal, going for the second. Really want to hit that. That's a collaborative. Well, it's not collaborative. It's Karen Lewis Bonfiglio doing all the characters that are in the book. So that's 38. I think she said maybe one or two more. So probably like 40 characters in that piece. That's 4,600 goal, stretch goal. So we really want to see that happen. And yeah, a lot of other things I can't talk about yet. I did do a link tree that is on my Instagram. That's kind of a temporary situation. You'll see why in a couple days, maybe shorter. But that's linked to a bunch of stuff there that I want you to go check out. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. But enough about all that. We're here to talk about Travis. Hey, welcome, Travis.
Hey, thanks. So a link tree, that's the picture, right? The big giant old picture that's like 6 or 7 panels.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many links you can do, but I did a whole bunch.
Nice.
I linked to, of course, Werewolves and Unicorns, my retro, because that's going to be live again. And I'll get into details on another show. But
No, I want to hear. I missed it. I missed out. When is it coming
okay.
live? Where's it going? Tell me about it.
Well, okay. So I did a very, very short campaign for my book Retro.
Right.
And it was only 5 days. And I was like, because I don't have a lot of time. I'm a freelance guy. I'm do this full time now. I mean, I've been doing it mostly full time since '91, so a long, long time. And I had to have money coming in because I'm not in a position where I can relax. So I really, just wanted to do a short campaign, also experimentally to see what would happen. Did it a load amount goal, 1,500, and did it for 5 days. We reached the goal in 26 hours and got a little more than that by the end of the Kickstarter. Totally happy. Had a lot of support behind me.
Yeah.
It's my first solo Kickstarter, so it was really interesting. I learned so much about putting one together and how to make it look pretty. I almost went sheer blank page and just like threw it up there, but I was like, oh, let me work on it a little. And was really happy with that. A couple of people came to me and said, "Hey, I want to get a copy of Retro," and I was like, "Oh, okay. You can throw me the money on my PayPal, and I'll make sure you're on the Kickstarter list, kind of thing."
Right.
And I thought about it, and I was like, I'm gonna go port everything over to Indiegogo
Okay.
and open it up as a store. So
As
it
the
will
demand.
in demand.
Yep.
And it will be the same exact deal as the Kickstarter. But what people don't realize is like that was a full color 32-page book. It's now going to be a 48-page book. So it'll be 28-page story plus a lot of extras. And for the same price, the same deal until July 4th, being Independence Day for independent comic.
Right.
So I'm really, really excited about that, and it's going to be a lot more work. But you know, I really wanted to make that. That's the first book I'm going to be self-publishing. I got a lot behind it. I'm already working on more books after it with teams, and yeah, I can't say anything now. Probably in 2 weeks, we'll be announcing some stuff. But I got some stuff I'll be announcing before that. So yeah, really exciting time. Like I said before the show, it's been an insane day. Lots of good stuff happening, and yeah, really, really, really excited. And I mean, essentially, okay. So to back up a little bit, I did a crowdfunding for digital tablet because I've been mostly an inker in this industry, comic book inker.
Okay.
And some people have approached me and harassed me and cajoled me. You should get into digital inking. You should get into digital ink. I was like, look, put your money where your mouth is. I'm gonna put it up on GoFundMe.
Right.
I found a tablet that a friend of mine reviewed, and as like, I heard this is good. Here's my GoFundMe. If you really want me to do it, go pledge to that.
Right.
So that funded. That was like, you know, is $400 I think total for the tablet and free shipping or whatever the deal was. So I ordered that recently. Then I did the retro, and now we're in the middle of the Werewolves and Unicorns, and all three funded. You know,
Nice.
so it was a triple crown,
Yeah.
baby.
We are in the same boat. I have 3 that I funded for myself, and then I have 1 anthology that I was partly in. So we're in the same boat.
Hey, that's awesome. It's so great. I mean, there's so much going on, and it's like my friends and then friends of friends, and it's like it's a whole kind of independent party going on out there that people aren't fully aware of because it's so massive. So tell us your story. Tell us like exactly what's going on right now, and then we'll dive deeper into the past.
Sure. Yeah. So right now, I'm Travis Gibb. I own Orange Cone Productions. I have several comics. Right now, I have 2 live on different platforms. So I have Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies. That's my primary book. That funded on Kickstarter. We raised 33,300, I think. Yeah, 3,300 with 156 backers. I just got my check for it, actually, which is really cool. That came in yesterday. So it was payday. Everyone was really happy. So the first one raised about $4,000, and I really wanted to hit that mark just because it helped with shipping, helped out all that. So I went ahead and threw it over as a trial over on Indiegogo. So I'm running that. Again, it's already funded, so you're going to get everything the Kickstarter gets. And if we get to funding that, which is only a $500 goal, I'll actually throw another alternate cover over there, which is pretty cool. So that's number 1. The second thing I got going on right now is I'm the project manager of a book called The Advocator. The Advocator, what it is 6 like independent comics that all submit 4-page stories. So we have in this most recent one, we have Barbara Unleashed, we have Seed Seekers, we have Nature Boy, which is an old like book from back in the day. What else do we got? I'm trying to think. I need to look. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. With Seed Seeker, Joseph DeWitt has one in there. He has Martha Revised, Joseph Duaz rather. And the last one, which I know I'm going to be really kicking myself. Oh, it's Marcina, the Howling Wolf, which is a superhero comic, which is really, really good. So all of those are one book, and they're not throwaway stories. It's not like the first 4 pages of their book. These are independent stories that are just in this book, which is pretty cool. We funded the first one around Christmas. This is the second one.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Yeah, it's like you know, I did pretty good in mine, considering it was so short.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of friends like, hey, why didn't you go longer? Why didn't you go longer? You could have made such a bigger bundle. And it's like, it's not really about the money. It's about freaking opportunity right now. It's like,
right.
I gotta open that window, get on the board, and put myself out there in my book, and just get work on it and get it published, and then I can really do a whole lot more.
Sure.
Because there's just plenty of people that want to work with me, and it's like, I mean, I know that's the situation all around. I mean, with yourself, I'm sure like there's people that probably message you every week, like, hey, I saw your book, I really liked it. How about we get together and do something, or
Right, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people want, and even if it's not main books, it's anthologies. Like every week, there's an anthology that wants me in there because they want my back, and really they want my backers. It's not even that they've read my book a lot of times, because I consistently. So my first Kickstarter was $4,000. My second one was $6,000. My third one was 3,000, and then this last one was 3,000. But they're all at 150 plus backers, which is really, really unheard of for a rookie guy, right? Getting that many. Most people. So I get hit up all the time for those things, and just trying to build what's going to fit and what's going to help build my career, and what's going to be a distraction from getting my book out, right? So if you take all these jobs, how are you going to get more retro out? How am I going to get more broke down out?
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of building systems,
right?
It's like I'm learning things. I mean, it's propelling me faster forward, and I'm sure you feel the same. It's like,
right.
That now that you're in the process, in the mix of things, you're learning stuff not only by the people you're collaborating with, but people are just coming to use. Hey, I saw how you're doing this. How about doing it this way? I'm sure you're getting tips left and right, because I certainly am.
Well, I took a class. I took Tyler James's class of the Kickstarter. So
okay.
And I help a lot of people with their Kickstarters, because a lot of people, it's not that they have a good or bad product. It's really their pledge levels are a mess. So if your pledge levels are a mess, you're never going to make it. It doesn't matter how good your project is. If you're charging $17 for a 20-page comic, and then add another $5 shipping on that, it's just not going to work unless you have a name attached to it, unless there's something special. So you've got to figure out what that balance is, and figure out how to make your money back on digital, because there's a lot of options you have on digital if you pay attention.
So was that free, or that's a paid course, the Kickstarter course?
So Tyler James's stuff is a paid course. Yeah, you pay. Yeah. I think it's like $1,000.
Wow.
I got in
was
on
it worth it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, $4,000 for an unknown creator with 150 backers is just unheard of, and I give a lot of that credit to Tyler James. It's not that I didn't do things before, but I'd never run a Kickstarter, and I did it in like 3 weeks. So I built the fan base and everything. Not 3 weeks, 3 months. Sorry, can't do it in 3 weeks. That's not possible. I did in like 3 months, but I do have a marketing degree. But it did help me tremendously, and I help a lot of people with it, using it, getting their stuff out there and getting them to the next level. Because you should want to level up. You should want to do better than the time before and better than the time before.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is a business, bottom line, and for us to expand the business, we got to at least do better. We got to do better each time, and going forward, and building on what we've established. And definitely, it's like, I know, like, I'm heading in the direction that I've been wanting to go for years and years, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm here. Wait, what? And
Right.
I'm so swamped with work now. It's like, it's amazing. It's great, and it's like, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you're the same way.
Well, yeah, and it's hard too, right? Because funding that second one is a little harder. I don't know if anybody's told you yet, but funding that second one's a little harder. And I didn't believe it. I thought the second book for Broke Down was going to be double numbers, and it did better in some respects. And to get a little personal, my father died a few months ago, and I had a brand new baby all within 2 months. So that all happened the end of March, beginning of April, and I
Wow.
launched in April. So I had a lot of personal stuff going on. So I am super stoked at the level that I got with the crazy things going on in my real life, you know? Um,
Yeah.
but I looked at other Kickstarters who are, you know, on their second run and second issue, and they're getting very, very little money, and they're getting a lot less. A lot of them are funding, but like barely, like last day. So it's building that and building your fan base and learning how to talk to your fan base, you know, as you're going through this process and as you're building these things and building your career.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely heard that. You know, it's like, I haven't done a second Kickstarter yet, but you know, I sort of dived right into a second crowdfunder. Um,
Well, yeah, but I still think it's the same thing. I think you're going to
yeah,
do
it's
okay because a
separate
lot of
thing.
people, yeah, everyone missed the first one, you
Yeah,
know, and I know you're very big on Twitter, so a lot of those Twitter people they don't go any place but Indiegogo, so they'll jump right over, you
yeah. I hope so. You know, it's like, I'm almost afraid of what's going to happen. The button goes live, but
Yeah, you got to make $100.
we'll see.
I don't know if you know this, but you got to make $100.
Okay,
So
that will do it. That will
if you don't make $100
convince
bucks,
everybody else.
yeah, if you don't make $100, they refund everybody's money. So it's a big deal to make $100.
Yeah, cool. Good to know. Well, I think my computer's a little wacky, but hopefully
Yeah,
we're
sorry,
all working here.
it's lagging for me.
Um, yeah, I've been having a little issues with it today. Can't keep up with the amount of work I'm putting through it. But hopefully we're okay. So where did you start? How is this like your first career, or
The first comic, yeah. So
what's
my
all
first,
that about?
yeah. So when I started comics, I went to film school, and I was trying to do film, and then I had a child, and I realized that film wasn't a thing. So I was like, well, I know how to write scripts. Let's see if I can bring it to comics. I love comics. I've loved comics my whole life. You know, I spend a massive amount of comics money on comics every week. I just got my bundle today. Lots of good stuff. Pick up Walking Dead. Pick up War of the Realms. So I found this book called Government Bodies, done by Steven Nielsen, who works for Aftershock now as a marketing director. And I submitted a short story to be in the back of it, and I got that. And then I was in Negative Burns. So for those who've been around for a long time, Negative Burns is the thing to be in back in the day. If you were in Negative
Yeah,
Burns, you're with Gaiman, you're with Bendis even, Alan Moore, all those guys got their start from Negative Burn. So like I worked really hard and got into Negative Burn right at the end there. So I worked in that, and then I took a break for a few years. Just I broke down in Four Dead Bodies, the book that just launched. I wrote it in 2007. The guy drew it out. He started drawing issue 2, and then he had a child himself and was like, I can't finish. And back in the day, before Kickstarter, any of this stuff, if you switched artist, you're dead, right? If you switched artist on a 4-issue mini, you're dead. No one's going to buy it. Nobody's interested. Diamond's not going to pick it up. Diamond wants a guaranteed team. So I was just like, well, this story's done. Flash forward to now, 2016, 2017. I'm talking to my wife. She's learning more about me. We're just dating at the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, I used to do comics. Really? And I gave her some. And then I showed her Broke Down in Four Dead Bodies. And I had like 62 pages done. Like a lot of book. And she's like, why are you not using this? and I had no good excuse. So I whittled those 60 pages down to a solid 32, and created Broke Down 4 Dead Bodies issue 1, and we funded on Kickstarter last year. Issue 2 is brand new, all new art. I contacted the original artist, asked him if he wanted to finish. He was like, yes. He's like, it's been a decade, but let's do it. I only used 2 pages of that. So the other 40 pages are kind of lost in the ether, or 10, 15 pages are lost in the ether. But yeah, so we're doing issue 2 now. His art style is 10 times better than it was. My writing style is way better. You know, combining issue 1 and 2 into one issue, if I would have came out with it back in the day, it wouldn't have been as good as it is now. And I'm really proud of it. It's like a Quentin Tarantino, stray bullets, 100 bullets type of thing. Crime noir.
Yeah, that's right up my alley.
Nice. Well, I'll make sure you get a digital copy if I haven't sent you it already.
Aw, thanks. What was I going to mention? Oh, well, okay. So, I'm the one that started crowdfunding. Create Our Own, the Facebook group, Create Our Own.
Okay.
And I do remember you posting like a year ago for the first issue.
Yeah.
And obviously now with the second issue, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, I set it up how many years ago for that purpose, for indie creators to post about their work. And also, you know, the attempt of the site, you know, the group on Facebook is get people interacting. That's still in process. I even started another YouTube channel just for that. You know, I got more moderators now, and we're going to be talking and working on things. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's like it's hard for indie creators to get out there, and there are so many groups on Facebook. I mean, there's also outside of Facebook. Like I used to be big on DeviantArt. I'm just slowly dipping my feet back in, and there's like forums and stuff over there that you can really Reddit. I look, if you know anything about Reddit, we're gonna have to talk off camera.
I haven't mastered it, but I figured it enough to get. I get about $100 every time I do a Kickstarter, so I'm doing something right, because I know some people are like, it's a void, and they down click me every time, and they.
Yeah, it's a foreign thing to me, because it's like I don't know what's happening. I don't know what. I mean, it makes sense visually, but I don't know. Yeah, it's just like I don't know where to jump in, I guess is the point of it all.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much available out there. I mean, people, are you into doing comic conventions at all?
Yeah, no, yeah. Especially I'm in Florida, so I do practically everything in Florida. I just got done with MegaCon, go to Tampa Bay Comic Con, going to SuperCon. Yeah, so I'm doing all the con circuit. And it's funny because it's a different animal, right? Selling for Kickstarter is a different mindset that selling at a con table, and your strategies and how you make money and how you build these things are so very different. You know, because Kickstarter, I'm just like, I want you to read my book. At a con, I'm like, all right, how do I make table and make friends? Like, how do I do that? I can't make table if I'm not at the table, but I can't make friends if I don't leave my table. Like, how do you do that? You know?
Yeah, I'm usually the one that runs around most of the time, but which is not good for business. But
yeah, like the last day on Sunday at MegaCon, I was not at my table. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just like, I'm hanging out with people, you know, and I've got a lot of higher profile friends, well, lower profile, who I've correct because I've been doing it so long. Not that they like me; they were indie guys back when I met them, you know. So now they're all famous. So I sit and talk to them. I talk to them behind the scenes, you know.
Yeah, I'm originally from New York. Now I'm living in Kentucky.
Sure.
I used to do conventions a lot. I mean, it was a lot easier in New York. I mean, besides transportation all around you, there's ton of conventions in New York, around New York. Is Baltimore not too far away? There's Philadelphia not too far away. Here, it's like I've been to Louisville, I've been to Lexington, I've been, you know, like a couple of small area conventions.
Okay.
But like knowing, I've seen my vision for a long time, so I know I just want to get like some books under my belt, get them published before I start looking at conventions and tapping some stuff. But Florida has been on my scope because all my brothers are living in Florida. I'm the black sheep living in Kentucky. They're all in Florida, so MegaCon is definitely, that happens twice a year, right?
Right. Yeah, well, not anymore. Yeah, they
Not anymore.
They canceled the Tampa one because it didn't do really well.
Oh, that's too bad.
But Reed Pop just bought one of them down here, and Reed Pop is, of course, New York Comic Con. So
yeah,
who knows what's going to happen? Now that that's in place, because Reed Pop does a great convention.
Yeah, Miami convention probably.
Yeah, probably. I'm not a huge fan of Miami. Miami is probably my least favorite one to go to, just because Miami really likes cosplay. Nothing wrong with it. They just really like cosplay, and that's where everybody is. They're all doing these cosplay competitions and this and that, and that's great. But that leaves it Artist Alley kind of barren.
Yeah, I always thought, and plenty of my friends say, that are working on their own independent comics, it's like we should all just get together and do a convention where it's comfortable for all of us, like in between everything. Yeah. And just do it for indie creators. That it's no cosplay, no movie stars, no anything else. It's just indie creators and their books.
Right.
Making art maybe, or just talking with fans, or all that kind of stuff. But really, like, more of an intimate kind of thing. There's Mocha in New York. Which is very, very indie. It's like all the bizarre, like, it's a comic book about toasters. It's like all the weird stuff.
Right.
But they don't do superhero stuff. So, but
yeah, I mean, I guess there's the closest thing to, I heard C2E2 has a really good, separating the indie comics together. I haven't gone in years. I went to C2E2 in like 2005, so like what it is now. And then the Image Con, you can go to the Image Con even though you're not Image, right? The Image Small Expo, whatever that is. I think you can go to that one as well, and that's all independent comics. But I don't know how you get into that, or how who you talk to. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a couple of books that was published by Image, but I it's not that I ever work with them, personally. It's just like by happenstance, the people I was working for got it published through Image.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's small independent comic conventions, and like I said, it's like, as I build my thing and start exploring more, and I mean, heck, it's like I haven't really done anything consistently convention wise, so me to do maybe a couple of small ones next year would be a big thing.
Well, yeah, and you need a couple books to make table, anyways, right? So the thing is to make table. I mean, but you're an artist. I've seen you do.
Yeah.
The first time I got connected with you is you were during the Welcome to the Void campaign. You did a Welcome to the Void piece for Chuck.
Yeah.
I watched that video for a day, watching that. In fact, I learned a lot from it. I actually had Frank Uzin, who's a big following, had him do the same thing, and it helped. It helped bring some exposure to my campaign. So you gave me that idea, actually.
Oh, awesome! I love hearing that.
Yeah, without you knowing it. But yeah, absolutely. So I had him do the broke down one, and it worked out really well.
Actually, I owe that to Chuck. I have to finish it. It's in my pile.
Oh really?
Yeah, I have. It's just this past. Well, since last year I ran into so many problems. It's like I had my computer breakdown. I had laptops I burned through. I had internet issues because I'm in a small town and I'm in the worst spot in town for internet. Yeah, it's just like months. It took months to just battle through it all. And finally, I bought a new PC. It's not as strong as my other one, but it was like, screw it, And right now, actually, it's like, um, I'm paying more interest on it than it costs. It's like ridiculous. But all that will be taken care of very soon, because not only the Kickstarter money, but I got some money from Aquaman. They reprinted Aquaman when the movie came out.
Nice.
Get a couple of bucks from that, and I'm going to be working on possibly some regular inking gigs for other people. Nice. So yeah, it's like a lot of things are converging at the same time. It's almost like I might disappear off the internet kind of for the most part, because I'm going to have a full schedule. But I'll be in a much better position than I have been in over 15 years, probably.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like I have worked for Marvel. I have worked for DC. Since then, I did a little thing for Claim under new owners. Like I worked with them back in the day.
Right.
And not Acclaim, Valiant.
Did you work with the new Valiant? Or the old?
It was. I worked with Valiant after Jim Shooter left, so it was Bob Layton in charge. Worked with them for a time, but I was doing background inks back in the day. Right. But the experience has lasted with me to this day, and I want to open my own studio, because it was one floor in a office building in Manhattan, New York. Just wall-to-wall people on art tables, pencilers, anchors, colorists. They had the writers there. They had the editors there. They had a production crew. And yeah, it's like I walked in on my first day and Bob gave me a page, said, pointed, there's a free table over there. Get to work.
Nice.
So it was a great experience. I mean, that kind of led into my Aquaman work and so on and so forth. But because of the relationships I built there with the pencilers, because I was surrounded by them, and we just talked and worked.
Well, and you're related to Jimmy, right? Like that's
yes.
Not, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Jimmy's a year and a half older than me.
Okay. I used to know him really well back in 2005. I used to hang out when the Daredevil run was starting, and I was a fanboying, and I used to. But now, ever since he found Amanda, like he doesn't leave his table. So I don't think he'd recognize him if I walked up to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's all over the place. Actually, one of the crazy things I did for the retro Kickstarter was it was originally planned for 8 hours, but I did a 7-hour hangout, and just had friends jump in.
Nice.
And to launch it, it was the retro dance party kind of event. And my brother showed up for that, so he was in there for an hour and a half or whatever it was. But also a bunch of my friends showed up and kept me company. And it's like, I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm just sketching throughout the whole time, and we're looking at the page every once in a while. It was a lot of fun. And then I ended with another 8-hour hangout.
Wow.
Also, yeah, I mean, it's like if you're going to do a 5-hour Kickstarter, I mean, a 5-day Kickstarter, then you really have to crunch everything into it.
Yeah. My first Kickstarter, I did little events and gave away little prizes and things like that. But then I realized it was really hard to keep track of all that stuff. So, and I'd probably do it again. But like I said, I had a lot of emotional stuff. So I was just like, nah. I tried to send a link in the chat to it, but I guess you can't send links. So you're going to have to do that if you want to do it.
Okay, I'll do that now. Actually, I was thinking I should probably see who's around. We got 7 people watching. I see Karen. I see Ronnie. Hey, Victor Rodriguez. I see Travis Gibb. Who's he? Get him out of here. No.
Sorry,
uh,
Victor. Sorry.
let's see. Does anybody ask any questions?
Yeah. Any questions about Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies? You know, it's crime noir. You know, we can talk about that. We can talk about the Advocator, and if you're a creator, how to get in, because it's open submission. You can submit your stuff. So, for instance, Peter, you could take your retro character and you could write a 4-page story and be connected in the Advocator. And you don't get paid in cash, but you get paid in books. So, however much money it raised, it's split to buy books after backers to ship them out to everybody. So it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Getting a little feedback, but yeah, I mean, I'd be down. I don't know if you know, I do this show on my channel, but I also do something called Studio Synergy. A lot of times it's mostly artists, but I'm open to all creators,
Nice.
whether it be writers, animators, movie stars, I don't know, whoever wants to jump in.
If you're building content and putting it into the world, you'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're welcome to join.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, just hit me up. I'll I sort of got a secret group on Facebook. This way I can hit people with the link without messaging 100 people. But those are always a lot of fun. It's like I've been doing more and more hangouts, not only on my channel, but just privately. And also now with creatives, like we're just talking over, script ideas and costume designs and all sorts of fun stuff. And I mean, it's making comics is freaking thrilling. And I always realized that, but like, back, like with my Marvel and DC work, I was there approximately with both companies, like 7 years. I worked for DC for a long time, then worked at Marvel for a long time. And I always knew that there was something else missing. It's like I worked on lots of top books. And yeah, it's like, unless you're a big name, they're not going to really promote you in the comics, and there's all that kind of stuff going on. But I was perfectly happy just being an anchor, just working for the big two, having the opportunity to work on some great books, working over some amazing artists. But what I know now is that really, I just want to make my own creations and put them out there. That's the bottom line. And, as I go forward, it's like, I want to help more and more other creators and people, people message me and ask me questions. Like, I'm always open, my time is less than glass, but, I'm sure, you're the same way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anybody who needs help getting to the Kickstarter, who doesn't have a name for themselves and needs to make it, I'll gladly sit and talk to you. It's just the question is, are you willing to listen? Because a lot of people we talk to, they just they think that you just put something on Kickstarter and just make $1 million. No, it's building that relationship. Peter couldn't have did a 5-day campaign and raised the money he did if he didn't build relationships for years. I mean, that really, it matters. It's building these relationships and carrying it. I had the advantage, even though I had broke out of comics for a long time, I still had a lot of comics friends. Do you remember digital webbing?
Yep.
Yeah, digital webbing. Like a lot of my friends are from digital webbing, so I still had them on Facebook. So a lot of them were like, "Hey, Travis is back doing comics," so they shared my stuff out to a whole bunch of people. Because they may have left or they still did it, and they still have friends who do comics. Doing it, and then the other thing that you can't fake is the product. Right? The more of it's done, when I saw retro, or if you look at my comics, you can tell that they're very close to done, or a good portion of it's done before we sent it out there. You can't just put a pinup or a cover and hope for the best. It's not going to work that way. My books are done before I submitted to Kickstarter. Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies was done. I needed to do some coloring. I needed to do some editing. Sure, there was some small stuff to do, but it's 80%, 90% done before you even see it. So it's presentable and ready to go, ready to be shipped. I'm going to ship out issue 2 in July if everything goes out well, assuming there's no issues,
So you mentioned before, like, you didn't want to switch artists. Is the same artist going to be finishing off the series?
Yeah, he's finishing all 4. Yeah,
Okay.
he's finishing all 4. It's a 4-issue mini, and then so Broke Down is part of a universe. Actually, someone asked in the chat what kind of what it was about. Tell them more. So Broke Down 4 Dead Bodies, about 2 guys break down on the side of the road, ran in Denver. They break down. They hate each other. They have 4 dead bodies in the trunk. Lots of guns, lots of violence, lots of F words. That's kind of what you need to know. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie is basically. And I wanted to write crime because there's not a lot of people writing crime, and the people who do a great job. Brian Ozario, and a few of these people. But the problem is we've gotten to the point where comics demand more. 100 Bullets is a great series, but there's all this extra stuff in it, which is great, but it's not straight crime. Straight crime has a spot. Criminal, all those things. Criminal was great, but then he started doing Cthulhu things, and Faithless has, maggots eating women out. So it's crazy. It gets a little crazy now and then. So yeah, the 4 issues is that, and then after that, I'm going to do some one-shots with various artists. So Broke Down is the title of the series. So the next one after that is called Broke Down and Tapped Out. It's a wrestling story. Broke Down and Patched In is a punk rock story. And they all just kind of lead up to big end. So instead of doing an ongoing, I'm doing an ongoing, but I'm doing it in blocks of miniseries and one shots that all tie into the same universe and story.
Do you envision collecting them all into a hardcover one day?
Yeah. I'm going to obviously do the 4. One of the keys to making comics that a lot of people don't realize is you're building to the trade because, well, I mean, maybe not for you because you do the art and the writing, but for me, I'm just paying money to people constantly. So when the trade comes, I finally get to go, okay, how much can I have back, please? Right? Because in theory, I'm only have to pay for, maybe a few extra pages to make the trade a little bit more enticing, maybe a cool cover, But in theory, I should be able to make some of my money back on the trade. But
Very nice.
But yeah, that's the envision, is to get to the trade. And nobody, if you're an indie guy and you want to be taken seriously, you need to have a trade. I can't send Image or Marvel or DC one comic, and they're like, okay, anybody can make a comic. Show me a complete story. Show me what you can tell. So that's going to be my resume. I'll start sending these trades out to people who I'd like to write for one day, and hopefully I'll get picked up and be able to do something.
That's awesome. So you mentioned an interest in film back in the day. It's like I know, with me and my brothers growing up, especially Jimmy and Anthony. Jimmy is the next one up, and then Anthony is the next one. They were into filming home movies where they got all the G.I. Joe characters,
right,
and went out into the backyard and attached fireworks to all of them and started blowing them up and filming it with Super 8 film.
Yeah, I didn't do anything like that. I mean, my family was too poor for a camera. I come from a drug and alcohol family. There was lots of drugs, lots of alcohol, lots of not so good things. So I didn't have that great upbringing. In fact, comics are really, people don't give a lot enough credit to comics. Comics are really what saved me. That I didn't have the Bible. I didn't have a religious background. Comics taught me right and wrong. It taught me how to deal with those situations. And I can go down the alcohol route and be like Tony Stark, or I can do this. So the comics were kind of giving me those guidelines. So I had to leave New Hampshire and go to Florida to start film school. And I had never touched a camera. I can't say never. I filmed a couple of small things for school projects and things like that, but using school equipment and things like that. But my goal was actually to go into special effects. I didn't realize you needed math, and nor did I really desire to blow things up. I actually realized when I got to film school, I just really want to write. And I realized that I was good at it when, out of my film school, literally 90% of the projects were written by me. If they were a group project, I would write it, or, I would write it. So I was like, okay, I've got something here. And a lot of that, when I look back at them and I watch them, they're all imitations, right? This is me wanting to be Kevin Smith. I wrote this. This is me wanting to be, Guy Ritchie. I wrote this, but then you start to develop your own style, and I'm still developing my own style. As I look at my writing now, I'm writing. I wrote a book called Dog Days. It's a trade paperback for another company called Evelzine that published, and it's a full trade, and we're working on it. And I realized that, I'm starting to have a voice in it, and I'm starting to question whether or not I like that voice, right? Like, is that the voice I really want? I clearly have it. So it's fun. And there's some things that I do really well, like dialogue. I kill at dialogue. Everyone who reads any of my comics are like, you kill at dialogue. But, is that gonna carry me? Do I need to be better at action or, the twist, So that's how I'm going through it.
I'm really curious, like, if you're thinking, like, do you have like a YouTube channel? Have you maybe thought of experimenting just a little bit, like even just a trailer for your comic, like a scene from your comic or something?
Yeah, in fact, Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies was a short film. I actually have the footage from it. I'm saving it for later in the campaign, but and it will come out. And it's just one little scene from the comic, and I didn't have any black friends, so it's 2 white guys instead of a white guy and a black guy. But yeah, and I thought about it, and I'd like to do a YouTube channel, but really, I'm trying to master building a fan base and mastering my craft right now, and I don't want to be distracted by coming onto YouTube, interviewing people, making friends. I'm good at that. I really am. I'm good at talking to people and inspiring people and helping people, but really that's taking away from my craft, and I have a baby. I'm working on Dog Days, which is a full trade. Broke Down 1, 2, and 3, 3 and 4 right now. I just finished, I just published another Indiegogo I have live right now is a anthology called Why Faith. It's in the last 10 days. And a lot of people talked about that over the last few months. It's a faith anthology. I wrote something in that. Got 2 more anthologies to do. So I'm really just expanding my craft. I'm working on signing a contract with a company called Short Fuse to do a one-shot. So I'm really just trying to work on my craft and be good at that. I'm thinking about taking some jobs of story editing because everyone who sends me their script, I tend to talk to them for like 2 hours on the phone, and they rewrite their script completely, and they're way happier with it. I'm not good at grammar, so I can't do traditional editing, but I'd love to do story editing. But what do you charge for that, right?
Yeah, I did that recently for a friend of mine, and I forget what I did charge him, but it was sort of I guess it's like I've mostly been an anchor, but I have dabbled in a lot of everything else. Even like when I was up at Valiant, they were like on a deadline with a book, and they had me like cutting out little letters and doing letter placement on pages or something.
Oh, like old school lettering?
Yeah, it's like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know, like for whatever occasion it was, they couldn't do it anywhere else other way. That was I guess they were starting to get into computer coloring shortly after, so computers weren't fully a thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I did a little bit of everything along the way. But yeah, now that I'm definitely geared towards a lot more writing. I still want to ink, and I'm drawing a lot more. I'm not, totally confident as a penciler, but I got somebody recently who hired me as penciling and inking one of his anthology stories. So it's like I'm sort of branching out in my own stuff and with other people, and I couldn't feel luckier,
Right.
but I totally get where you are, and man, you're so smart. It's like, yeah, just keep focused, because I get great advice from family and friends and everything else. But it's what's in your heart and direction to go that meshes with what people are saying. Otherwise, just ignore it almost to an extent, and just go forward and do your own thing, because that's where you are and that's where you need to be.
Yeah, it's how can I, I want to get to the next level, and to do that, I need to keep writing. I need to keep doing things. I need to keep making those relationships to help get to that next level. So that's what I need to do. I need to work on my craft, and along the lines, I am helping people like the Advocator. Literally, how that came to be was me and another guy talking, and it was a selfish need. I was like, okay, I need to come out with issue 2 of Brokedown. That's going to take 2 months. Okay, I need something to come out in between issue 1 and issue 2. I can get a 4-page story in this thing. Okay, what if I get a few other people to put a 4-page story? And that's how it came to be. And then I realized that a lot of people have that problem, right?
Yep.
You yourself, you're like, okay, my doors are opening up. You have to finish Retro. Issue 2 is going to be a long way out. And issue 4, a 4-page story in something may help hold your fans over to make sure they stay interested. So that was really cool. And then I get to work with all these creators and help them get their visions out and help them. And looking at it, like there's mathematical numbers in the background of it going, all right, this guy raised this much, this guy raised this much, this guy didn't raise that much. How can I help them gain a fan base through the Advocator to help them grow their comic career? So we're helping each other out, because after it's done, we share email lists and all that, So it's really, really cool. And so I've been doing that. We also have a thing in Florida called the Comics Initiative. And the Comics Initiative is we go to small little conventions, or we run panels at conventions where we talk about these things like comics in the classroom, diversity in comics, marketing, Kickstarter. So we talk about all those things. A good friend of yours, Chuck, is really active in that. Chuck and I are really good friends, and we do a lot of things together. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, on that end.
That's awesome. So Werewolves and Unicorns, that's it's the 100s group, but we did 4-page stories in that. So
yeah,
I wrote, penciled, and inked a 4-page story. That is the first story in my whole career that I wrote, penciled, and inked. It's like, why did it take me so long? It was so amazing, such a great experience. And yes, I'm in for you. I'll do a 4-page story. I'll write, pencil, and ink it for you. And yeah, I mean, it's like the cross pollination can only do us greatness.
Yeah, well, some people need that, right? And that's what's great about it. There's some people like myself and you, you clearly could have raised a lot more, if you funded so quickly. I'm looking. I have Retro Live here. I mean, how much did you make? Let me see.
It's like 19 and change.
19 and change in 5 days. People don't make that,
And
so you
that's
did great with 78, 79 backers. You did great, getting that out there. It's a good looking book, especially for people like myself who've been reading comics since the 90s. It's got that 90s, 70s feel, like it's got when I say 90s, 70s feel, here's what I'm trying to say. The people who are writing comics in the 90s were inspired by the people in the 70s, and you've got stuff like Retro.
I mean, if you read the top of it, I'm inspired by comics from the 60s to the 90s.
Right.
Is like, yeah, I mean, that's definitely, it looks like he's stepped out of all that. And yeah, it's a little more modern, and it has a little more, risque than a book from Marvel or DC back then.
Sure.
But it is everything I love about comics, and yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's what's cool about it, is getting these things together and being able to do it, and we can help lift people up. I know a lady who's done 4 Kickstarters, but it's the same thing every time. She barely makes $700. She only got 45 people. She can't seem to break that. And I'm like, well, you need to be in something like the Advocator, so you can get a new fan base that's not going to see you, because clearly you're not going in enough groups. You're not clearly enough, and maybe you're not good at that. And some people aren't. Some people can't communicate in like Indie Comics Conspiracy or Creator Owned or any of these things. They're just not good at chatting. Or when they want to chat, somebody else said something that's way more inspiring than them, so they don't. So it's helping lift those up.
So in Advocator, how many stories are in that?
So it's 6, and it's got to be connected to an existing universe. So we
Okay.
want like a retro comic because we want to help build your franchise. I want someone to pick it up and go back to you and go, hey, where can I get retro #1? And you're like, oh, that's great. I have it here for sale, or wherever the case would be. We just launched it at MegaCon. We sold 65 copies at MegaCon, which is fantastic for an indie show. And this is a $7 comic book. It's 36 pages, and we're selling it for $7. And you get an alt cover too. If you want, I can go grab. I don't think I have one.
Sure. Sure.
Here, give me a second. I'll go grab it from the bedroom.
Okay. Yeah, everybody knows that I have lots of friends doing their own independent books, and they're trying to get them out there. They're trying to make a real name for themselves and get their property known. So definitely, like, stuff like this is gold. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for coming out. If you have any questions, I'm sure he'll be back in a second.
I'm back.
But yeah, there you are. Show us what you got.
So this is the first Advocator. Like I said, issue 2 is live on Kickstarter. So here is what it is. So can everybody see that? So it's 6 stories. So My Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies has a story in it. Modern Testament, May Revised, Welcome to the Void, which you know Chuck very well. Grimwood Crossing, and Binary Star. So we did these 6 stories in a comic book all together. And then we made alt covers, of course. This is a broke down cover. It's a virgin. So you get that. But it helps, and inside of it is linking to their book. So this is Binary Star. Here's where you pick up her stuff. So it's a whole page of ad, basically, where do you pick up their stuff. But it's not a preview. That's the key thing to point out. This isn't 4 pages from their comic book. This is its own story, and you can reuse it. And the cool thing is, like, let's say you were in this, you have authority to reprint this as it is. This version, as many times as you want. I don't own it. You won't. I own it just as much as you do.
So I could essentially do a 4-page story, then have it in issue 2 of Retro.
Correct. Absolutely. As long as it was here first, you're good to go. You could do whatever you want with it. It's you own it. And like I said, you can print this up. You can use it as a digital reward. For me, let's say you did a 4-page story. I wouldn't use it for Retro. I would sell more of this because you're going to get copies of it. I would combine it, and then print it in issue 3, for people who didn't get it or whatever the case would be. I'd skip it in between, but whatever. The 4-page in this, I'm not going to do anything with it. But the minute the trade hits, I guarantee it's going to be in the back of the trade. And it's neat things like Welcome to the Void. Chuck. Chuck's a great guy, but he lives paycheck to paycheck. So what we did is I helped him create a story that is in the continuity of his other one, because he uses magic of people talking using the panels from his old book. So from his other book. So we redid the panels, and he's talking, like, telling the origin of the story from a different perspective. So there's ways and interesting ways to do that, because I really wanted Chuck in the book. He said he couldn't afford to do 4 pages. How can we get it done? And we did it.
Awesome. You were talking about, like, digital webbing back in the day.
Yeah.
Me and Ed Dugshire have talked, commenting back and forth throughout the internet in the years. He told me a little while back he wanted me to ink something, and then he was busy, I was busy. I throw him a comment every once in a while. Hey, really like your piece, and it's great to see you drawing more. And hey, I'm still open to inking your stuff, and hey, poke.
The begging for a job, but not begging for a job. I've been there.
Yeah. I mean, it's because I really loved his book, and I love his art. And I know, like, he's had other artists work for him, but I really love his style. And being an anchor, it's like, man, I just want to ink everybody eventually.
Right.
I mean, that's also the purpose to what I'm building. My sort of company is that I'm hiring all these pencilers, and I'm at least going to ink all the books until I fall flat on my face.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it's like Ed, said the last time I poked at him, he's like, definitely, we should do something. So, it's like, yeah, it's building those like teeny little things, little relationships throughout the years that might lead to something is also cool.
Well, yeah,
But
and even if you can get like a small thing, building these relationships are so useful. If you want to build something small, if you
yeah,
want to do a, retro and you want to ask friends, when you're building Kickstarters, it's all about the collector's market, right? So I had 3 covers. I have a standard cover, and then I always have a pro cover. So my first pro cover was by Carmeline. Do you know Carmeline? He does Buffy.
all
He
right.
did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Avengers Arena. He did a whole bunch of stuff. Carl did my first one. And then I do what's called an artist edition. And my artist edition is an up and coming artist who just needs a spotlight. And that cover here, let me kind of see everything over here.
Hey, let me click on yours so you stay. Hold on a second.
Let me see if you can see it.
No. Okay. All right, you're in. Broke down.
So the first 2, those are the standard covers. And then at the bottom, we go here. Sorry, there's a light glaring on it. Let me see if I can.
No problem.
Is that better?
It's a little glary, but I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one over here. Right here is the artist edition. So that's a sketch cover.
Okay.
So it's a full-on sketch cover that is done by that artist. That artist has a huge Instagram following, and it allowed him to be focused on a cover. So it's not just a regular cover; it's his edition. It's labeled on the back as him. He gets copies that he sells at a con. For the second issue, I have Jim Riley doing it. He did a great job. He did a completely different artist edition. And then I had an up-and-comer for my pro. I had an up-and-comer, Rich Woodall. He did Johnny Raygun. He's done Savage Dragon. He's done Invincible. Just backup little stories that they've done over the years. He's most recently in Scout Comics Electric Black. Just trying to build that. Oh, cool, Victor. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, unfortunately, for the Indiegogo, you need to have money in your account. But for the Kickstarter, you can back now, and it won't come out till later. But that's what we've done. Is it's building these people up too, and now these people are very loyal to me, right? Because I help them get the next thing, and it's really just highlighting these independent guys because you never know who's going to make it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the next big independent guy could be your boss a year from now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at your brother, right? They did Ash. Ash was not a relevant comic. I was running a comic store at the thing. It was something you carried, but you bought 2 copies, and then boom, right? You get picked on one Daredevil for Marvel Knights, which is like a 7th revamp. Or actually, Marvel Knights isn't even a good example because Marvel Knights was done well. Ultimates, the Ultimate Universe, was a horrible. That was the 3rd reprint of literally. There was a Chapter 1 Spider-Man out the same week of a retelling of Spider-Man's origin. You put Brian Michael Bendis on it, and it's the first 2 issues are him talking. It's him talking to thing, but it worked, and it blew up, and he got lucky. That those things happen to blow up and get lucky. Anything could spice something. I know people who've written, Justice League Adventures and made full careers, and I know people who've run Justice League Adventures and were like, "That's as high as I'm going to get."
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back a little. You mentioned Ash. Yeah, not everybody knows, but I came up with the name for the character. But
did you? Okay.
Here's my claim to fame. Jimmy called me one day. He's like, "I'm working on a character with Joe. He's a fireman." I was like, "Ash." He's like, "Well, we sort of thought about no, use Ash." And then he called Joe, and then he called me back. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go with Ash." But yeah, it's like, I was so thrilled. I freaking love that book.
Yeah.
Um,
You
I
should borrow Ash for retro.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let me get retro like really in the spotlight before.
Sure.
Um, it's okay. So here's the thing. I already talked about this in probably one of the long hangouts that I did for retro, but I already have in mind. Okay, so Rich Future is the penciler for the first issue of retro,
Okay.
but he got into oil painting, and that's his career now.
Okay.
So something I never wanted to do within my own books is change the artists, like you were mentioning
Yeah.
before. Um, and I have plenty of friends who are super talented, super awesome. But I thought about it. It was like, I came up with the character when I was in my late teens. I've been
Right.
living with retro a long time. And I've told the story a bunch of times, but there's many little reasons why he's stuck in my brain.
Right.
Because of my father is a big one. Because of my longest relationship with a friend was another. But it's like, okay, I have to pencil it. It's my baby. I have to be the penciler. It's like whatever my skill level is by the time I get to the issue is what it's going to be. It will
Right.
get better, but this is my baby. Okay, so that coupled with um, going back early in our careers, like when Jimmy actually penciled like a 3-part story or something from Marvel Preview back in the
Yeah.
day.
Mhm.
That had Ghostwriter. That's all I remember about it. But I got to look it up one day. Anyway, he took photos of me back in the day for a character in the story, but it was like a bum in the background or something.
Sure.
So for retro, I thought, okay, I got to do something fun. And I had this villain in mind, and I was going to use him in a later issue. But I was like, no, issue 2 is going to have this goofy character villain called Button Man, and it's going to be Jimmy as the character. So that would be my little revenge.
Well, and definitely, you should advertise that. Featuring Jimmy
Well,
Palmer.
it's going to be in the freaking first issue. It's going to have next issue. Jimmy Palmiotti is Button Man.
Did you So is the first issue done? Did Ryan finish it, or did you got to finish up his stuff?
He told me he finished the pencils. I actually have to go in. I'm currently going through every freaking file, every thumb drive, my old computer, to collate all my files.
Sure.
He said I have all the pages. We didn't number them, which is part of the problem. So I have to go back to the script I gave him, which
Right.
was kind of a loose plot, actually, and just go over all the details of it. He said he would pencil anything that's missing, so it's like I'm not panicking yet.
Sure.
But I think I got everything. Um, I do want it to work out to 28 pages, so I'll do a page count and go through everything. But yeah, I'm stoked, man. I'm so stoked about this comic. I'm so stoked of working with other friends, of just freaking making my own comics and diving headfirst into this whole independent creator world. That it's like I've followed so many creators. Back in the day, I mean, essentially when I lived in New York, um, when I was working for Marvel in DC, I would get stacks and boxes of free comics. I was reading 1,000 books a month at one point. I
Right.
was picking up a copy of Preview every month and just scanning everybody's name. I was so in touch with what everybody was up to. Um, I tried to do it as best I can now. It's literally freaking impossible. I
Right.
have no time.
Well,
So
and you previews won't even tell you everything. You know, half of your
yeah,
friends are doing Kickstarters. You know,
yeah.
Brian and all these people are doing Kickstarters to crazy amounts. Carl Kessel launched one yesterday to huge numbers.
Oh wow, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's like big name um artists we followed now starting their own YouTube channels. I mean, it's for a while, it was scary, but it seems like, at least from my point of view, there's a lot of excitement going on and a lot of great creators getting their books out there.
Right,
And like I said, it's like I just wanted to freaking put my book up on Kickstarter to get on the leaderboard,
right, sure,
and it was the smartest decision. I literally worked day and night, no sleep, just eating crap, just doing what I could just to get that Kickstarter page together. And then you know how it goes, like, it says yeah, it would take 1 to 3 business days to be approved, and that I clicked that button and I was like, okay, I just want to get it approved, and it said you've been approved, and it's like, holy cow, what do I do, and it's just like, oh well, it's going live, just screw everything else, and just, I went directly from busting my ass working on putting it together to then being live. And like I said,
right,
I freaking did a 7-hour stream. Um, only a couple of breaks during that right
right,
away, and then I had a show after, almost directly after it, and then I
right.
crashed.
Well, and you always, you could always go back to Kickstarter too. You know, it being only a 5-day campaign. Go
Yeah.
and give people, just make an alt cover and say, that original cover is only for those people who jumped on that 5-day campaign, but we have this new campaign with this new cover. It's still first printing, but
Well, one of my beliefs and one of the things, like one of my rules, is I won't have alternate covers.
okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna regret that if you're gonna keep doing Kickstarter.
Well, maybe, maybe not. I know,
By the
I
way, you
know.
have a question in the chat.
Sure, sure. I know it's a business thing, but it's like there's a reason Fantastic Four cover is amazing. The first one, because that
Yeah.
was the only cover. Off topic, but Peter, do you know which reprint of Aquaman your work is in? Um, uh, it was Peter David's run. Um, it was 2 different books, and it was released around the time that the Aquaman movie was out. So I don't know. It probably had its own unique name, um, but if you go online and just search out trade paperback with issues 10 through 49 of Aquaman Volume 3. I think I worked on Volume 3 because there's so many different volume. It can't, they tried a series, they tried another series. They did, okay, Peter David did Time and Tide.
Yeah.
That was
Book
successful.
2. It looks like it's book 2 from what I'm
Book
looking
2.
online through. Book 2. It's Aquaman book 2. Peter David book 2 is what it's
Peter,
called.
so Aquaman, Peter David, Book 2.
Yeah.
So
It
there you
does
go.
collects Aquaman 9 through 20. I don't know how many of those you did. And
I did.
Aquaman Annual.
Yeah, I did 10. I did, I don't know, something in the teens, maybe.
Right.
Not many. I thought there was more.
You're labeled on the thing as a cover artist of a lot of them because and the cover is your inks.
Okay, so
I'm
is
telling
that
you
what
more about your book, Peter.
is that the one with him like the hook spiraling
He's
out.
got the hook. Yeah, and there's a big ocean, and there's a globe thing in the background. Yep.
Yeah. There was a one of my favorite covers because it's just a clean image of him.
Yeah, I was running a comic store at the time when that came out, that Aquaman, and I have a friend who loves Aquaman. He's a big backer of mine, and he loves Aquaman. And I remember like him going, "You have to pick it up. It's not. He's got a hook now. When he's very different." I was like, "Yeah, but he's still Aquaman, right?" Like, like I don't care. You know, Peter David's great. I love Peter David, but he's not writing the Hulk, so I'm not interested. I think.
Yeah, it's I got the gig. I was super happy. It's like
working for Peter David's really, really cool. And who did the art? Who's the art right there?
Jim Calfury.
That guy's not even relevant anymore, is he?
Well, he's doing convention. He's doing his own stuff. He did
but he's not doing any Marvel DC work anymore, right?
I don't believe so. I don't know exactly all he's up to. All I see him do is posting pieces he did at conventions, prints he's doing, that sort of thing. I think he spoke of working on a book, but I don't know if he announced it yet. He
did stuff. He did Red Lanterns in 2015. So he's done a few. It looks like he'll get miniseries here and there, huh?
Yeah, he did Exiles back in the day for Marvel. That was really big for him. That was after Aquaman.
Right. He did the Red Lantern series for DC, which was a good. I really like that run.
He did Leaving Metropolis. With one of the big female writers. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting.
And he was the one who finished up the Avengers Force Work shenanigans.
we did a special with Century together, a 48-page one shot. But which I love. That's the biggest single book I did for Marvel and DC.
Was that the Paul Jenkins one?
Who is the writer? Maybe I actually forget who wrote that.
Sorry, I'm a wealth of comic knowledge. So especially when you probably have all the artists.
It came out, and that was like during the. Yeah.
One of us needs to talk.
There was like Century came out. Century, like when not when it was super hot.
Yeah, that was probably the Paul Jenkins run. That was Paul Jenkins did the first one, and then he came back.
I think my connection is getting. Oh, okay. I think my connection is getting worse or something. It seems more delayed. But we've been going a long time. Let me wait. Yeah. Yeah, we've been going over an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I could talk to you so much more. Definitely want to get you on Studio Synergy. It's like what I do with a gang of people. Have you jump in on that? I definitely want to do some private hangouts with you. And soak you for information.
Sure.
Feel free to soak me. Get some good Kickstarter knowledge from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a great episode, and people can definitely get some tips along the way from it. They should go check out your work. I'll put links in below. I usually do that next morning.
I'll message you all three because I got the breakdown. I got the Advocator. The Advocator, just so anybody's clear who's watching this, the Advocator has none of my work in issue 2. I'm only in issue 1. And then Why Faith has a 6-page for me. Advocator issue 2, I'm just the idea guy. So I'm the project manager. I put it together.
So, where can people find you online?
Yeah, brokedown4deadbodies.com. You can find me on there. You could search me on Twitter or Instagram, out of that, under Jester Lou, JesterLou, or Travis Gibb.
Very, very cool. Yeah, is there any last thing you want to mention, or I think we had quite a full episode.
Yeah, no, yeah. We could use some backing. We need some support over at Indiegogo. I've only got like 2 backers. I really want to get to halfway. Like I said, the book is done. It's funded. It was funded on Kickstarter. This is just allowing opportunities for people who didn't get it. So if you want to jump on that, that would be great. Also, the Why Faith, if religion is a thing for you, you might want to jump onto that one. That's only got 9 days left, and that book needs another like $80 to make its. Oh no, it's $800. Sorry, $800 to make its flex goal, so they can get the money out. So that one needs a little help too. Advocator too. I've always loved there. So basically, look at the links later, like them, click on them,
Yeah,
support me, be my friend.
yeah, he put some links into the live chat, so you can check them out there, and I'll get the rest into the video description below the video. And yeah, tomorrow night I'm on Crowdfunding Comics. If you're watching this later, just
that's a great show. So I'm super jealous. They said I could be on it, but my Kickstarter was running out too long. I'm gonna have to ask him if he can get me on, because I really want to be there. I want to be there with Billy. I actually have some art that he did in a sketchbook that I really want to show him, that he did for me.
I don't know if I'll bring it up, but his first appearance of She was actually a Razor annual, and I inked the last 5 or 6 pages of that.
Oh, nice! No, you definitely should bring that up. What are you talking about? What book are you talking about there? The anthology?
The Razor annual #1.
No, I know, but what book are you promoting over there? Are you just chatting? Or are you talking about the werewolves?
We're talking mostly about the anthology.
Okay.
I'll be lucky to mention retro at all. We'll see. I'll feel it out. Now I haven't spoke with, but I chatted with him. Essentially, he's easy to get in touch with on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Billy's impossible. I sent a message a couple of months ago, and he, I don't think he's seen it. But
just send him some cash. He'll respond really quick.
Yeah. But I have watched the show live, and he has, said, "Hey, Pete," he saw me in the chat. I saw him last year at Louisville.
Okay.
In November, I walked around a bit. I was only there 4 hours, but I ran into Billy there. We talked for a little bit and ran into other friends and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, throughout the years, I have always ran into him at convention, and he's always smiles and handshake and how you doing and what are you up to and yada yada yada. So yeah, I mean, it's like I knew him before he blew up. So
yeah. I wouldn't say I knew him before he blew up, but I was friends with Bendis back in the day. And that's a story we'll have to talk about. But Bendis always used to have booths by She, because he was a huge fanboy of She. So they would be boothing next to him. So I used to talk to Billy a lot. Him and David Mack. So like he had the 2 girl books, because She and David Mack. I can't remember what's his book. Kabuki, yeah. So it was She on one side, David Mack and Brian Bendis going, I did Goldfish and Jigs. This is before he did any of his Marvel work. And I would always hang out with them. So they're all like booth friends. So I kind of knew them all.
I loved Bendis's early work, and obviously he's done some pretty good stuff since then.
Oh yeah, but Why Do Crime?
It's like I knew David back in the day. I mean, obviously he was working at Marvel Nights, and I was up in the offices all the time at that time. I run into him, and he's always like nicest guy. He did the DVD of talking about Kabuki and his work, and
Oh, okay.
really phenomenal. He just gave that to me. He's like, here, just talk about it somewhere. Um, super guy, super talented. Yeah, always looking forward to his new work. And yeah, anyway, we could talk about people all the time. But really great having you on. I hope people go check out your Indiegogo and all your work. And I look forward to reading it, and look forward to doing a story for you as well. And yes, Chuck, I will finish your piece and get that to you.
Yeah, seriously, Chuck, stop begging Peter. I mean, it's really getting annoying.
Chuck has been awesome. Actually, on my other channel, he interviewed me about me and my career,
He
and
told me about that.
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he called me, and we had a whole conversation about it. And then it took me a half hour in to realize he wasn't talking about Peter Submit, the guy who does I can't think of that name.
Alternate Comics.
Alternate Comics. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, I don't know why he would need you. Like, he's got a whole bit, but that's really cool. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, besides the fact that he's one of my moderators in the group, I've gotten to know him, and I thought he would be a great interviewer. So it's like, I definitely want you on, man. I definitely want you to do this. And I had a really good time with him, and he really drilled me.
Yeah, no, Chuck is a great guy. Chuck and I talk probably weekly.
Yeah.
I help him. I'm one of the guys who does his story editing. I'm one of the few people who've read issue 2 of Welcome to the Void. His writing stuff he doesn't like to share with people, but I read it and gave him some advice, and really cleaned it up and building all that stuff. So no, Chuck's a good friend of mine. That's why we do the Advocator together, and why we partner with stuff. That's why he came to Florida and Orlando. Me and Rob Anderson.
Right. Yeah. I think Chuck mentioned Rob during a 5-day campaign. Is like, people gave me a short list of names. Oh, you should get in touch with this person. Rob was one of them, and I was like, I'm already at the end. It's like I'm in the middle, but I'm already at the end. It's like I don't have time.
Yeah, I mean, I would go ahead and try the in demand, but if it doesn't work, I would recommend just relaunching a Kickstarter, and just saying, hey, we only did 5 days, people still wanted it, because you can put your Kickstarter level at $50. You don't have to make a big deal about it,
Yeah. We'll see. I think I'm going to try, because it's been set in my mind for a while.
Oh, you should definitely try it either way.
Yeah.
I did this double dip with the first broke down, and I didn't make my goal, but I still made $300, which was fine.
Well, let me put it this way. If it doesn't take me impossibly long, it will be live tomorrow.
Nice.
Because I have little time. It's like, I have things to do tonight. I got to do some writing. I got to do some character designs. And yeah, it is all the other work I got to get to. But yeah, if I can get it up, I'll get it up tomorrow. And if Billy allows, me to talk about a little bit of anything else, I'll announce it there. So
nice.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, and I'll jump on. Let me know when it's live. I'll definitely I'll back Retro. I would have backed it when I first saw it if it wasn't 5 days and I missed it.
Well, you could just put some change into the messenger. That will work.
Right. No, well, you're gonna need those. You're gonna need those in demand numbers. So we'll get it over.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, man. It's been great. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I'm trying to get past 1,000. It's been growing. It's been growing steady, and even faster than before. I'm at 60, 80 now, so I want to hit 1,000 pretty soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Travis. You've been great.
Thank you.